Hey, good morning, Quad Cities. We got a special edition of Ask Andrew with me, Ask Maureen, this morning. And it's been a busy morning for me here so far. I've definitely been having my fair share of just trying to get through all of what we need to talk about when it comes to the weather. So now, happy that you guys can join me now because we're going to be able to actually breathe through this forecast, to actually dive into the details of the next several days ahead because we got a lot to talk about. Snow chances, cold. The good news is this morning, our weather impact alert that has been in place is going to expire very soon. So we've already seen, I think for the most part, winds have begun to calm down. It's still going to be a pretty breezy day. I do want to just make sure that the National Weather Service has gone ahead. Okay, yes. So for the most part, they have gone ahead and expired that winter weather advisory that we saw, as well as the wind advisory that was for most of us. That Galesburg region, that's operated actually not from the Quad Cities National Weather Service. That is in the territory of Lincoln, so Central Illinois National Weather Service. So that'll likely get trimmed back too as we head through the next hour or so as they update their advisory areas. But still, you can expect it to be a pretty breezy day. Again, I want to give you a look right now at some of our hometown cameras across the area. It has been cloudy. Visibility is looking a lot better in quite a few of these areas too. Clinton is looking a lot better. Rock Falls and that, especially the Whiteside County Airport and Rock Falls area, they were definitely getting a good swath of some snow showers to reduce visibility with all those winds. Looking at roads, though, they're not too bad. So that has been some good news, but now temperatures have gotten a lot cooler. In fact, at 4 a.m. this morning, we were still around 40 degrees. So it really was those warmer temperatures that did us a lot of favors, at least through the morning, to keep those roads looking really nice. It really wasn't until the past couple hours that we actually started to see those conditions push in. Top wind gusts did get up to around 45 miles per hour this morning in Moline, 44 in Davenport. Only peaked around 38 miles per hour in Dubuque, but it definitely was a gusty morning. And we're still seeing those wind gusts elevated. I mean, they're likely going to stay between 25 and 30 miles per hour as we head through the rest of your morning and likely into the beginning of your afternoon. It's just not going to be as windy. I will say Des Moines, we've been checking in with our sister station in Des Moines, and I was even checking in on the National Weather Service to see their reports of some of their peak wind gusts. They were getting 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts, so that was a lot of wind. Luckily, didn't get that intense here closer to the Mississippi River Valley. So as we take a look at visibility, though, with the winds and the light snow showers that we have been seeing, it does reduce the visibility out there at times. Like I said, though, within the past hour, I've really started to see some of these conditions begin to improve. Still take it easy if you're going to be out there on the road, specifically for areas along and north of Highway 30. That's where we see some of those blues, which means 50% covered. And I've been checking in on some of those cameras off to the north too. Definitely a light dusting on the road, so not really much in terms of accumulating snow, which really wasn't the concern this morning. It was definitely the winds that was bringing in that visibility reduction at times. And oh, trust me, even though we were checking in with our sister station in Des Moines, it was crazy. It looked like blizzard conditions out there. So they just had some light snow showers. They really didn't see much in terms of accumulating snow either. But those winds can really cause some issues out there, that is for sure. As we do look at temperatures across the area, again, this morning we were in the upper 30s. Now we are at that freezing mark. So those cold winds have definitely dropped in that chillier air mass. And this is basically where we're going to park ourselves temperature-wise for the rest of the morning and going into the afternoon. We'll continue to filter in the cooler air mass, but it is going to be drier into the afternoon. So we're going to be able to take a deep breath from the concerning weather for a little bit before our next round definitely pushes in. I want to give you an update on radar. So Dubuque, it does look like that area is officially coming to an end. Still some light snow showers lingering around Carroll County. Still a pretty decent swath pushing in just south of Sterling and going into Geneseo as well as Princeton. Couple of very light snow showers here in the Metro Quad Cities. I had to peek myself head outside. Just saw a couple of very light snowflakes. So luckily, again, not too much falling. Once we get this system to push officially off to the south, bringing in this chance for some light snow showers, again, visibility will improve and will stay dry through the rest of the afternoon. It's just this morning that you might need to give yourself those couple extra minutes on those roadways. Again, off to the north looks pretty dry for us. All right, so looking at wind gust tracker for today, we have fallen out of that advisory criteria. Keep in mind that advisory criteria means around 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts, which is what we were seeing earlier this morning. Well, now it's starting to calm down just enough to fall out of that criteria level, but still it's going to be breezy. We'll still have gusts around 30 miles per hour, mainly through the early part of the afternoon. Then by this evening, it should really start to calm down and we'll stay a little calmer heading into the overnight hours, but you can expect it to be a lot colder as we head into the overnight hours. Mind you, again, overnight temperatures last night were well above freezing. Well, that's going to be a different case as we head into tonight. Temperatures are going to be around 15 degrees for overnight lows. As we get into your Thursday morning, though, we will just have those cold temperatures to deal with. We will stay dry through your Thursday morning commute. But by Thursday evening, that's going to be a different story. Looks like we're starting to see trends of our Thursday to Friday system actually kind of arriving a little sooner, so we're pushing up this timeline a little bit more. And it looks like by the time we get to Thursday, 3 o'clock Eastern Iowa, starting to see some of those snow showers. And it looks like the brunt of this system wants to occur during the evening hours of Thursday. Might see some lingering snow showers just after midnight into Friday morning. But I think by the time we get to your Friday morning commute, we will be dry, but just keep in mind we're expecting accumulating snow, so could still definitely see some slick spots at times for your Friday morning commute. So we're going to have another weather impact alert in place. We're going to start this tomorrow afternoon and evening. We'll get a couple more model runs in to be sure that we're confident on that start time, but definitely going to last through Thursday evening into the early morning hours of Friday. Accumulating snow is looking likelier and likelier for us, likely going to cause some slick spots on the roads. And again, definitely need to take it easy out there when you're driving for your Thursday evening into Friday morning. So let's take a look at, again, the extended future track. We're still seeing some uncertainties with the placement of heaviest snow when it comes to our models. I've been kind of going back and forth all morning on them. They all are pretty consistent, at least with the numbers that they're putting out for total accumulations. It's just that placement, and especially as you look at Des Moines down to Quincy, where you have that pink line, that's a wintry mix. So that means we're expecting to see a transition line with those southerly winds bringing in a little more of that warmer air to transition. So we are going to see a transition line somewhere close. And if we do see that get close enough to some of our hometowns like Mount Pleasant, Burlington, that's going to create a sharp cutoff. Kind of what we saw this past weekend when we had those a lot of snow showers into Sunday morning. Yeah, we are going to see a very similar scenario, both in terms of how much snow we could see, as well as some of our areas seeing less snow because they have that transition line in place. And again, for now, it looks like most of our models do have a lot of this timing out to end well before we get to your Friday morning commute, which will be good news. But mind you, it is going to take some time to clear out those roads. So I would not be surprised if we do wake up to some roads covered still by Friday morning. But let's take a look at the snowfall tracker, because I know this is what everyone is probably most interested about when it comes to our weather impact alert tomorrow. We're expecting a widespread amount between 1 and I'm going to say 4 inches. We could definitely see some places get up to around 5 inches. That's definitely a possibility. Keep in mind that this is going to be a cold air mass that we're working with, so it's not going to be heavy snow. It'll be that light, fluffy stuff. Once again, very, very similar to the situation that we had on Sunday morning. But you can see down near Mount Pleasant and Burlington, we got that sharp cutoff, a tumwa, not even a dust, or just about a dusting expected there. So that's where that uncertainty is going to lie for us a little bit more. We still got about a day to get through quite a few updates and model runs and be able to get more confidence on the placement of where we could see, 1, the heaviest snowfall, and again, 2, where we could see not as much, like I said, for those towns off to the south. Well, that does not end our weather impact alerts for the week. We got more to talk about for this weekend. This is a look at your weekend outlook. Highs are going to get really cold heading into Saturday and Sunday. We're expecting snow showers Saturday morning. Now, I will say the good news is with this colder air, we're starting to see trends that not as much snow should be falling by Saturday morning. I think max anywhere from 1 to 2 inches right now. Obviously, we're still a couple days away. But it's definitely going to be that cold air that I think stands out to us a lot more through this upcoming weekend. We're talking about wind chills that are going to feel well below 0, and definitely wind chills that could get really cold, really close to cold weather advisory. I would not be surprised if we do see one issued, especially for Sunday morning. So let's take you through some wind chill or some expected wind chills as we head into the weekend. This is a look at Saturday morning just before the sunrise time. A lot of us are feeling like the minus teens, getting close to minus 20 for areas off to the north of I-80. So that does get really, really close to advisory criteria for cold weather. But it definitely looks likelier as we get into Sunday. You can't expect it to stay chilly and feel cold throughout the entire day Saturday. Then Sunday morning, we could boost those wind chills to feel as cold as minus 25 to minus 30. So that's going to be the coldest morning that we see for the upcoming weekend. And again, that can be very dangerous when it comes to these wind chills. If you have to be outside at all on Sunday morning, you want to make sure you're bundling up, layering up. You don't want any exposed skin to this because that's when you start to deal with frostbite times that can happen in as little as 10 to 15 minutes. Luckily, we should start to rebound very quickly as we head into the new week. I want to take you to the 8-day tracker. I know this is a lot of red that you're seeing. So again, weather impact alert this morning is coming to an end. I'm likely going to remove it here probably before we get to Good Morning Quad Cities at 11. And then we'll have that next one in place starting tomorrow evening, lasting until Friday morning for accumulating snow, and then some more snow showers possible through Saturday. But again, more notably for the weekend is going to be that frigid cold that we're going to see through Saturday and into Sunday morning. Now, the good news is it really rebounds fast into next week. We're talking about temperatures back above freezing. By Tuesday, we could get another 40-degree day here by this time next week, too. I know that we had some warm air yesterday, and that really started to melt a lot of our snow. I actually was seeing some patches of grass in my yard for the first time in a long time, but obviously that's not going to last for much longer. So I'm going to start to sift through some of these questions because I know that we got a lot to talk about weather-wise, and I want to make sure that I get through all of your questions and make sure that we answer them all before we get to this half-hour mark. Okay, so first things first, we got Seth Ashland checking in. Hi, Morgan. How are you doing this morning? I'm doing good, Seth. Riley checking in. Good morning. Good morning, Riley. Billy's saying, good morning. Are you concerned about flash freeze as the winds calm down? Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day, or I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I am not as concerned for flash freezing because we are going to see at least plenty of dry time as we head into the afternoon before those temperatures really crash tonight. So we get down to the teens tonight. As you can see, we're going to be around 15 degrees right here, 15 degrees tonight. But we should stay in the low 30s all afternoon. So from this morning, where we have been seeing those snow showers and some wintry mixes across the area, luckily, I do think those roads should have some time to kind of dry out a little bit before we see those really frigid temperatures settle in. And so hopefully we don't see as many icy patches. I think things should start to look better by then. But it's definitely still going to be a very chilly night compared to where we were last night as well. Again, I think the bigger concern with the weather impact alerts this week is definitely going to be tomorrow evening into Friday, where we do see a couple inches of accumulation possible. Vicky says, this is going to be a long winter. I agree. Riley's saying, what do you call a weather app that tells bad jokes? A Punderful Forecast. I like that. I actually had a weather app. I used to have a weather app that used to tell me jokes every day. Here comes the Quad City snow and watching it fly in. Yes, because we had the Bridgepoint camera pulled up right before I came on here, and you could see a couple of those snowflakes flying. It's not anything super strong, and again, visibility has been remaining pretty well here in the metro area, and roads have also been remaining really well, and a lot of that is thanks to just how warm we stayed. It really wasn't until we hit around 6 o'clock that Dubuque finally got to 32 degrees. The rest of us were still in the mid to upper 30s until just around 7 o'clock, and then that cold air mass started to really take over, and it happened pretty quick. Tim, really need to know how roads will be between Kewaunee and Chillicothe tomorrow afternoon and evening, please. So tomorrow afternoon, it really depends. Afternoon, it's going to be fine. Evening, we're going to start to bring in some snow showers. So let me, let's pull up this extended future track. So we can kind of take a look at some of that timeline. Oh, well, okay, so this is a look at 5 p.m. So what's going to happen is this is going to move from west to east. By the time we get to around 3 o'clock, I think is going to be the earliest that the Iowa side starts to see some snow showers in our area. I think once we do get to around 5 or 6 o'clock, if this timing still stands corrected, That's when I think Kewaunee is going to start to see some of those snow showers too. So if you can get there earlier in the day, the roads are going to be better. I think it won't be until later on in the evening that you really start to see those roads deteriorate a lot more when we start to get those more widespread snow showers to take place. And again, I'll leave this up for now because I know that this is probably the thing that a lot of people want to know their answer about is how much snow you're going to see. So again, I like this one because the placement is a little more what I like when it comes to the models that I've been sifting through this morning. They've all been pretty consistent on having 1 to 4 to 5 inches max across the area for this next system. But the placement is what we have to pay attention to a little bit more because Mount Pleasant to Ottumwa, we got a sharp cutoff here. What that means is there's going to be some warm air working with us for areas south. So Mount Pleasant, Burlington, and Macomb, even though it says it's anywhere between 1 to 2 inches, if that transition line gets any closer to those hometowns, that will significantly drop off any of those accumulating chances. It'll be like Sunday morning, where I was hearing from people down in Burlington and Galesburg, all they got was a dusting, while the rest of us were seeing inches on the ground. It's kind of a similar setup for us here. So again, I do think that the heaviest swath is going to be anywhere between 3 to 5 inches of snow. Again, this is going to be a really light, fluffy snow. So this is a very similar situation to what we saw on Sunday morning. Going to be easy to clear off, but still could cause a lot of those roads to be quite slick for quite some time. So luckily, most of the snow looks like it wants to end just after midnight Thursday, so that means crews will have a lot of time overnight to be able to help clear off those roads by the time you get to your Friday morning commute, but I still wouldn't be surprised if we do see some roads still covered on Friday morning. Okay, this one is from Chris and Kayla from Walnut, Illinois, a joke. Who is Frosty's favorite aunt? Antarctica. And I actually really like that. I'm gonna have to tell that joke later to the people in the newsroom, if they're not already listening. At what temperature should we let our water drip so the pipes don't freeze? Thank you as always. Really, it's going to depend on how you know your house the best, and you know the vulnerability to your pipes, and if you are more vulnerable to letting them drip, I would say this weekend, overnight especially, leave your pipes on to drip if you're definitely seeing some more vulnerable, if you're definitely more vulnerable to pipes freezing, because we're going to see temperatures get down to around or below 0 for actual outdoor temperatures as we get into Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Saturday morning will be a little bit better, but feels like temperatures will still be well below 0. But Sunday morning, that's the one that a lot of us need to watch out for, especially when you're thinking about your pipes and making sure you don't want to have to deal with any of them freezing. So for that, that's a great question, and I'm sure a lot of people also want to know that. But definitely when it does drop below 0, I'd say for sure. When it gets close to those single digits, again, if you're somebody who has those very vulnerable pipes and you know that you need to kind of help them out a little bit more, also opening up like in your kitchen, if you have that, obviously the counter that's underneath your sink, usually if you open that up, some of that warmth also can circulate from your home. That also is a good way to kind of help your pipes out. Noah 12, and oh gosh, Emalea, that's a beautiful name. 7 from Walnut, Illinois. How big can snowflakes get? They can get really big. So what happens is whenever you see those really massive snowflakes and it looks like they're just like these big clumps falling out of the sky, that's actually a ton of snowflakes just starting to stick together. That usually happens when we have that heavier wet snow, because it kind of starts to collide with each other and they can stick to each other a lot easier. Versus whenever we get this really light and fluffy snow, we generally don't see that happening as much because, again, those water droplets are a lot colder and they're going to stay lighter and fluffier and they won't stick together as much. But they can get really big. I don't know exactly what the criteria is for how big they can get, but I've definitely seen like quarter-sized, clumps of snow falling from the sky when it gets into those proper conditions. Sharon says, I'm ready for spring. I am also ready for spring. I just said this morning to Ava, I want to be on a beach. How much snow on Saturday? Michelle asks. That's question number 1. So on Saturday, I don't want to show totals yet. I think we'll start kind of diving into that a little bit more come tomorrow, um, because I want to focus a little more on the snow that's coming in tomorrow evening, because that one looks to be more concerning. I think that's going to bring in more snow. And in fact, because these temperatures are going to be so cold on Saturday, you can't expect it to be light and fluffy snow again. But usually when you have these really cold and dense air masses, they don't have as much moisture in them. So we don't have as much moisture to wring out for us, so we're not gonna see as much snowfall in turn. Right now, I'm gonna say my best guess for across the area is gonna be anywhere from I think most of us are gonna be between 1 and 2 inches on Saturday morning. That's my thoughts right now. Highest amounts could maybe get up to 3, but again, it's that colder air that I'm kind of starting to second guess that I just don't think it's going to be as much. I think the more concerning, or the one that's going to bring in more snow to the area, is going to be the system that comes in tomorrow evening. Michelle also asks, do you see the line of heavy snow moving more north or south? See, that's a good question. I think I could see it moving. Latest trends, honestly, this morning, as I've been sifting through models, again, like I said, the placement of the heaviest snow band has been so back and forth, but recent trends, this morning at least, has had it kind of shifting more to the south and east, which is interesting, because if that does happen, then we're going to change these totals for areas near this transition line like we've been expected. But that's kind of why we are kind of outlining the Washington, Mount Pleasant, Burlington, Macomb area. You guys are kind of in the highest level of uncertainty right now when it comes to how much snow we could see by tomorrow evening. So I think, again, my best guess for most of us, 2 to 4 inches. I think that's going to be the most reports that we do see. Like we saw on Sunday, though, there's definitely going to be some reports where people are reporting 5 inches of snow, because this is going to be light and fluffy and very easy to clean off. Wesley chiming in, 40 degrees next week is looking good. I agree. So I will also take you out to the 14-day outlook in just a second. But yes, so after we get through the bitter, horrible cold that we're going to see this weekend, it's going to be dangerous, especially Sunday morning. Like I said, we could get down to minus 25, minus 30 for wind chill values, and that's fairly dangerous for us. We stay cold into Monday. You can expect it to still be a cold, frigid start, but the good news is southwest winds return, and that's just going to quickly move back in some warmer air. So we get back to the mid-20s by Monday afternoon, climb to the mid-30s, and then head to 40 degrees by this time next week. So that's going to be good. It'll be a very similar situation where we were warm yesterday, watched a lot of the snow melt, really helped clear off those roads. I think the roads have not looked as good as they have this morning, or until this morning after we did see those warmer temperatures yesterday. So hopefully that's a similar scenario as we head into next week. But I do really want to quickly give you a look at the 14-day tracker, because after this crazy week where we're having weather impact alert after weather impact alert after weather impact alert, we're talking about snow and wind and cold, next week it feels like we can take a breather. So next week, like I said, we get to 40 degrees. If we want to pull up that 14-day tracker real quick, you can just throw up, there you go. We're going to be fairly quiet next week. Quiet, a lot warmer. We'll keep those highs in the 30s, a lot more near normal. And then even going beyond next week as a whole, we kind of start to get into that holiday week. Tuesday, of course, is going to be Christmas Eve, all the way at the end of this 14-day tracker. Still remaining in the 30s, so that could be some good news. But I'm really hopeful that we can at least stay quiet for a little bit, especially as we head into the Christmas holiday, and that would make travel easier. It'll make life easier, that's for sure. But it's definitely been a busy week. Okay, we got another question from Michelle, and I love this question. Didn't you guys used to have a ruler, and his name was Sticky, to measure snow? Yes, and we've talked about Sticky. I thought we were going to try to bring him back out. I don't know where he is. But yes, we used to have a PVC pipe with a ruler on it, and his name was Sticky, and he lived outside on our porch, and we had a camera, and we would live stream him. Hopefully we can get him back out, because it's great. You can tune in if you live in Moline and just kind of watch how things are stacking up and accumulating here. But yes, Sticky the Snow Stick. He's got an important job usually during this time of year. All right. So I think does it for most of our questions. I know we had a lot of people coming in, so thank you for joining me, kind of giving me a little more time to break down this forecast. Again, it gets really hard to try to say everything I want to say within 4 minutes. It's nice to have much longer chunk of time to be able to break everything down for you guys. But we're going to let you guys go a couple minutes early here. Of course, we'll have some more updates for you. Good Morning Quad Cities at 11 is coming up. I'll be able to focus a little bit more on that with tomorrow's system, since we're starting to see our weather impact alert come to an end this morning. Now we can kind of focus on tomorrow and the upcoming weekend. But I hope you guys stay safe, stay warm. Of course, feel free to ask us questions anytime. Stick with us on the News 8 streaming app. Stick with us on our apps on our phone. You got the WQAD app as well as the Storm Track 8 weather app. And of course, if you want any frequent updates from any of us meteorologists, me, James, Andrew, Peter, we're constantly on Facebook as well, giving you our thoughts and updates on what we could expect to see. So in the meantime, everyone have a great Wednesday. Be safe and stay warm.